Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda. Ngonzi on sign language, Elizabeth Nakakoni. Let's dig into it. Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga has re-echoed the need to return various kingdom property to ensure peaceful coexistence. Now, Kadaga's concern follows an outcry from members of Parliament from Bugisu sub-region, whose cultural institution claims ownership of Mbale Army Barracks land. This was during a special sitting to pay tribute to fallen cultural leader of the Bamasaba, Umukuka II, Bob Mushikori, and Owobsobozi Bisaka. Here are the details.
The Right Honourable Members of Parliament.
One of the things for which the fallen cultural leader of the Bamasaba has been remembered for is being a uniting factor for the Bagisu. Area members of Parliament emphasized this with regard to his promotion of the Bamasaba culture while living in Canada several years ago.
This is a man who gathered all the Bamasaba who lived in Toronto and the whole of Canada to get together.
He licensed his courtyard at his home in Toronto as a cultural ground for circumcision.
The motion to pay tribute to the fallen cultural leader was moved by First Deputy Prime Minister General Moses Ali and supported by Leader of Opposition Betty Awol Ochan.
The Parliament of Uganda received with deep sorrow the news of the demise of His Royal Highness Saul Kipiro Bob Mushikori Umukuka II, Webe Masaba.
He has been instrumental in introducing cultural football competitions in Masaba land.
A promoter of culture, as some described him, Bob Mushikori went as far as extending the same to the neighboring Kenya, which also harbors more Bamasaba. He died shortly after the third Umukuka had just been elected. The fourth Umukuka is expected to come from the neighboring Republic of Kenya.
Article 246 of our Constitution, Madam Speaker, it seems to restrict the operations of the cultural institutions within the boundaries of Uganda.
Uganda cannot make laws to govern the Kenyans, but we acknowledge the linkage. So you work for the Federation.
The cultural leader, who commanded respect from all his subjects, is also remembered for fighting to reclaim his cultural institutions' property.
We have the whole of Mageni expanse, a vast expanse of land, which is actually hosting the barracks of Mageni. The army barracks is on that land, including the school and other properties.
I think the Minister of Defense needs to take note and expeditiously hand over this land, plus the compensation.
I'm aware that the issues in Vunyoro have not been concluded, the issues in Toro have not been concluded, the issues in Busoga have not been concluded, and we're now being told that even in the Masaba land, the issues have not been concluded. So I want to urge the Minister for Gender and the Prime Minister to ensure that the properties of our kingdoms are returned so that they can enable them to generate resources for their sustenance.
The special sitting of Parliament also paid tribute to Owobsobozi Bisaka and Sarah Ntiro, the first female graduate from the University of East Africa. The trio died at different occasions and has since been laid to rest. Henry Okrut, UBC.
And the State Minister for Primary Healthcare, Joyce Kaduchu, says in a few weeks, a countrywide survey will be conducted to ascertain why numbers of COVID-19 cases have drastically reduced. The drastic drop in the number of COVID-19 cases in Uganda comes at a time when the country, or the government of Uganda, is expecting its first procured consignment of COVID-19 vaccines at the end of this month to embark on a vaccination exercise of essential workers, not excluding members of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. However, in another development, the Ministry of Health has been thrown into a frenzied panic mode after a new case of the deadly Ebola was reported in DRC's North Kivu region, less than 100 kilometers from Uganda.
Yesterday, the total number of severe cases in the hospital were 99. And this is far, 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 really, it is far little compared to the previous number of cases we had in the hospital. So this is a clear indication that across the board, the number of cases are reducing in the country, given the fact that we have been recently, not very long from now, being overwhelmed really with too many extensive community cases, with cases in the hospital, cases in ICU, and it is so really glad to report that the report indicates the cases are reducing. The Ministry of Health, with support from Africa CDC, have organized a survey that is going to inform the country on the level of infection in the community. The survey that is going to give a concrete, basic scientific information as to what is happening as far as COVID-19 is concerned. And the survey will come up with probably factors that could have caused the reduction of these reduced cases of COVID. So I want to appeal to the people of Uganda, let's hold on and wait for the outcome of this survey, which will give us a sound scientific information, and it will give a really true situation analysis as far as COVID-19 is concerned in Uganda. Previously, a number of surveys were conducted in the country. That is really a very good practice. The survey informed us the situation as far as COVID is concerned. At the beginning, a survey was carried out, and somewhere along the way also a survey was carried out. And that was the time we had to change the policy in terms of managing the cases because there was extensive community transmission. We had to change the care of mild to moderate cases from hospitals to home care. Third theory that probably might have contributed to the reduction of COVID-19 cases is also on the virus itself. There is also a thinking, there is a stipulation that probably the strain, the virulence is becoming weaker and weaker. The virulence of the virus is becoming weaker and weaker. As a result, many people who might have gotten affected, many people who might have gotten infected, might have healed without necessarily being tested, without necessarily being noticed. That is another theory which needed to be proven scientifically. So that is why we are a little bit worried that given the fact that there is another outbreak of Ebola in Congo, that at the bordering district between Kasese, Toroko, Bundubuju, all those border points, those border districts, it's a lot of concern for us because of the free movement between the border. However, the good news we have and the hope we have for the people of Uganda, even if we have got the outbreak of Ebola in Congo, the good news is that given the very outstanding track record of Uganda in terms of managing outbreak, in terms of managing emerging and re-emerging infections, we have got a lot of hopes we are very confident that we are going to manage this. Our people are going to be very alert, and we manage this without, if possible, getting the virus enter into Uganda. 2, given the fact that over this time, the country has built lots of capacity. We have huge experience. We've got capacity in terms of human resource, in terms of building the structure, in terms of building the system. This gives lots of hope for us that even if there is an outbreak with our bordering district, we as people of Uganda, we should be able to really contain and to prevent this coming to our country.
Meanwhile, police has described the media reports that it was involved in the torture of one Ronald Segawa as fake news, doctored by the opposition to Malayan security agencies. The Uganda Police Force spokesperson, Fred Enanga, says the force has classified information that the publicized image of a fractured hand is of a one Nelima Sandra, resident of Moni Ward Industrial Division in Mbale City. In its statement, police points out the real victim, Nelima Sandra, whose photos were allegedly photoshopped to suit the negative propaganda on grounds on different media platforms, fell off a rock barely 2 weeks ago and is currently undergoing treatment at Mbale Regional Referral Hospital.
Our task teams that are actively investigating the alleged torture have meticulously verified that the image of a fractured hand attributed to Ronald Segawa were of an accident victim identified as Nelima Sandra of Moni Ward Industrial Division in Mbale City, who fell off a rock on the 27th of January 2021 while at the village. She sustained fractures on both arms and also to one side of the leg, and she was rushed to Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, where she was undergoing treatment. It is at Mbale Regional Referral Hospital that the images of the broken hand with an open fractured wound were actually smuggled and photoshopped to incite negative perceptions against security agencies. Apparently, when you view the images attributed to Ronald Segawa, you'll observe that the hands of Ronald Segawa are actually hidden in a calculated manner in their deliberate attempt to sway public perception. We want to inform the public that the victim in Mbale, Nelima Sandra, is currently undergoing medical treatment, and her medical expenses are being catered for by Elite Youth of Uganda, an NGO based in Mbale that is also fundraising for her major surgery. We believe that sharing such images and related false narratives is deeply offensive to the victim herself, her family, and Elite Youth Uganda, who are trying their best to ensure that she gets the necessary medical surgery in Mbale.
The Inspectorate of Government has concluded a verification exercise of Northern Uganda's Social Action Fund Phase 3 in the Western Nile region, with an appeal to community and districts to always identify the right beneficiaries of projects. This has been disclosed by the Director of Projects Risk Monitoring and Control, James Penyui, while following up on a verification exercise in Meribe Sub-County, Arua District.
The Inspectorate of Government has met with other 700 beneficiaries of Northern Uganda's Social Action Fund Phase 3 at Maribe Sub-County, Arua District to ascertain whether they existed and were assisted. Different groups ventured into various enterprises, including cassava farming, tree planting, labor-intensive activities, nursery bed establishment, among others. Candy Richard, community facilitator in Maribe sub-county for the Obia Valley watershed, says communities say there is need to increase on the budget of such projects.
The budget for the projects, especially while approving, was not enough. Because you see, you look at some of these valleys, the streams, especially they needed really a higher budget than which was approved. Really, I think they need to increase the budget. It will now depend on us while generating the sub-projects. At least such valleys, I think, to be seen by the technical person critically, such that the budget can be done according to the nature of the area.
The Secretary, Drileba, cassava growing on Maribe sub-county, Lekuru Emily, highlighted a challenge of poor seasons which has affected their crops. Director of Projects, Risk Monitoring and Control, James Penyui, said they had confirmed that beneficiaries do exist and are working.
Decided to quickly organize to come and actually do 100 verifications of the beneficiary, first to confirm that they exist, and so that is why we actually invited all the beneficiaries to come here and physically be present, and we would actually go one by one to make sure somebody exists, and they are supposed to identify themselves using national identification documents or any other documentations available.
Penyui says the inspectorate is to compile a report which will be presented to the district to make some changes if need be,
so that we do not make the same mistakes in future. There are also other government projects which actually have the same modality like this one, for instance under Dr. Deep, and the projects are ongoing. It is the same community also benefiting. So this lesson learned from NOSAF will also help the implementation of Dr. Deep and other government projects.
Members of the inspectorate proceeded to Eka Karafe, where they carried out a verification exercise of the beneficiaries of NOSAF 3 projects at Dradeni Chapel in Arua.
Not possible, because this one, the exercise requires us to see the person physically, that this person is there, then we tick. Now, if the person is not here, we cannot tick. We can only report that we went there, we did not see this person. Then if there's another opportunity to come back and see, then we organize another opportunity to come back. But for this, we have been running an announcement on radio and saying everybody should come. If somebody was sick and in hospital, then what we would accept is some record to show that this person is sick, is admitted in hospital, could not come.
Following the proper use of NOSAF 3 funds and creation of impacts on people's livelihoods, there is room for continued support of communities in the region.
Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's lawyers say the decision of the 9 judges of the Supreme Court to dismiss the prayers of the National Unity Platform to amend the grounds in their earlier petition seeking to challenge the victory of the incumbent President Yoweri Museveni in the just concluded 2021 presidential polls was timely. Hussein Kashiringi, a renowned city lawyer and part of President Museveni's team of 40 lawyers, appealed to the petitioners to now focus their energies on their earlier petition, which Museveni's camp earlier described as short on content, empty and gullible.
On Tuesday, 9th February 2021, the Supreme Court dismissed Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu's amendment petition, though without detailed reports.
Raised in the proposed amended petition is a new matter which comes outside the limitation period of filing a presidential election petition. Therefore, we disallow it.
In the amendment petition, Chagulanyi was, among others, questioning President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's presidential candidature, yet at the same time he enjoyed the executive privileges as president and commander of the armed forces.
By virtue of being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the UPDF, he has the responsibility of providing security, and the Constitution bars anybody who has a function in connection with the elections from standing as president.
Just like elsewhere, in the recently concluded elections in the United States of America, President Trump was running as president, and yet he was also a candidate for the Republican Party. It almost happens elsewhere in the whole world. I'm not aware of anywhere in the world where a president resigns first in order to run as a candidate. But if Honorable Kyagulanyi had wanted to challenge the fact that President Museveni, the candidate, was also running as president, they should have introduced these reforms in the electoral laws long before we went for the election. You must remember that Honorable Kyagulanyi is a member of parliament.
From day one, the first respondent, who happens to be President Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni, the second respondent, Electoral Commission, and the third respondent, the Attorney General, had protested NUPU's prayers to court, seeking to have grounds in their earlier petition amended. The prayers were in contravention of the rules on the judicial proceedings as well as several precedents. A case in point, the John Patrick Amama Mbabazi versus Yoweri Kaguta Museveni case, in which the very court pronounced itself on a similar matter.
So once he filed that petition and he served us, and then we filed our answer, then he sought to introduce a new ground, alleging that Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was not qualified to stand to be nominated and to run as president. That was a new ground which was filed out of time.
Hussein Kashiringi, a lawyer to President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, says the court's decision was timely.
We were happy that their lordships, the justices of the Supreme Court, agreed with us and dismissed Honorable Kyagulanyi's application for leave to amend his petition. What essentially had happened is that time had run out for him to amend his petition.
The Supreme Court has set Thursday, 11th February 2021 as a pre-hearing date ahead of the main case kick-off, but the first respondent has not yet been served with affidavits of evidences from the petitioner as guided by law, and this seems to be another legal technicality.
It is a handicap to us because tomorrow, Thursday, we will be going for the pre-hearing conference where we'll be looking at the issues to be submitted on and the ones that their lordships will have to make a ruling on. But it would have been better if by the time we went for the pre-hearing conference, we already knew what sort of evidence he has. We are being prejudiced in terms of how much time we are going to spend in controverting this evidence.
In the main case filed by former presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he is seeking for the annulment of the 2021 presidential outcome. As to whether court will honor their prayers, time will tell. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Now, tomorrow, the Supreme Court will have a pre-hearing conference for the election petition filed by National Unity Platform's Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu challenging Yoweri Museveni's election as president, electing the just concluded 2021 elections. A pre-hearing conference is one where parties involved in a case meet with the judges to determine a number of issues before the case hearing begins. Now, a panel of 9 justices of the Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice Alfonso Wenyedolo, will hear the petition. Our reporter Benediga took off time to highlight profiles of who these justices are. Let's take a look.
9 Supreme Court justices, led by Chief Justice Alfonso Wenyedolo, will be on the bench of the Supreme Court to hear the presidential election petition filed by the runner-up in the January 14th general election, Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi, a.k.a. Bobby Wine, who is challenging President Museveni's election. The other justices on the panel include Faith Monda, Paul Mogamba, Eseda Chisache, Stella Arach Amoko, Ruby Opio Aweri, Pastor Tuhaise, Mike Chibita, and Ezekiel Muhanguzi. Justice Alphonse Chigamoy Owinyi-Odolo is the Chief Justice and head of the judiciary, which is one of the three arms of state, and it is the fourth most powerful office in the country after that of the President, Vice President and Speaker of Parliament. Born on 18th January 1956 in present-day Agago district, Owinyi-Odolo holds a Bachelor of Laws from Makerere University and a diploma in legal practice from the Law Development Center in Kampala. His Master of Arts in Conflict Resolution was obtained from the University of Bradford in the United Kingdom. In 1996, he was a member of the Constituent Assembly that drafted the 1995 Uganda Constitution. During the talks between the Lord's Resistance Army and the National Resistance Movement government of Uganda from 2006 until 2008, Owinyi-Odolo served as legal counsel to Riek Machar, the Vice President of South Sudan, who mediated the talks. In 2018, Justice Owinyi-Odolo led a quorum of 5 Constitutional Court justices to uphold Parliament's removal of the constitutional age limits for presidential aspirants. Faith Esi Kalikwani Monda is a Ugandan lawyer and judge who has served as a Justice of the Supreme Court of Uganda since 8th September 2015. Faith Monda holds a Bachelor of Laws from Makerere University and a diploma in legal practice awarded by the Law Development Center. Her Master of Laws was obtained from De Montfort University in Leicester in the United Kingdom. In 1979, she was appointed Grade 2 Magistrate in Kampala. In 1984, she enrolled as an advocate of the High Court of Uganda from 1987 until 1990. When she was confirmed, she served as an acting Chief Magistrate in Jinja. In 1994, Faith Monda was elected as the woman delegate representing the town of Jinja in the Constituent Assembly, which promulgated the 1995 Uganda Constitution. Justice Monda was in 2001 appointed to the High Court of Uganda. In 2005, she was appointed Inspector General of Government, IGG, where she served for 4 years. She's the founder partner of the law firm of Monda and Company Advocates. Esther Mayambala Chisache is a Ugandan judge who was appointed the Supreme Court of Uganda in July 2009. Prior to that, she served as a lecturer at the Faculty of Law at Makerere University, Kampala. She holds a degree of Bachelor of Laws from Makerere University and a diploma in legal practice from the Law Development Center, also in Kampala. Esther Mayambala Chisache holds a degree of Master of Arts in Women's Rights from Georgetown University Law Center in Washington, D.C. In April 2013, she was appointed the chair of the East African Judicial Committee. In September 2013, Esther Chisache was elected as the new president of the National Association of Women Judges in Uganda. Stella Arach Amoko is a Ugandan judge who has served as a Justice of the Supreme Court of Uganda since 20th June 2013. Arach Amoko served in the Uganda Attorney General's chambers from 1979 until 1997, rising from a state attorney to commissioner for civil litigation. In 1997, she was appointed a High Court judge, serving in that capacity until 2010. Justice Stella Arach Amoko served at the East African Court of Justice from 2006 until 2008 as a judge, and from 2008 until 2013 as a deputy principal judge of the First Instance Division. In her career on the bench, Justice Arach Amoko has handled many election cases. Ruby Opio Aweri, also Ruby Aweri Opio, is a Ugandan lawyer and judge who has served as a Justice of the Supreme Court of Uganda since September 2015. Born in Dokolo district in 1953 to the late Samweli Opio Aweri, Justice Opio Aweri holds a Bachelor of Laws from Makerere University in Kampala and a diploma in the legal practice from the Law Development Center. His Master of Laws was also obtained from Makerere University. His career started in 1982 as a legal assistant in Soroti district. In 1983, Opio Awere was appointed a Grade 1 magistrate. He gradually rose through the ranks and in 1998 was appointed a judge of the High Court. In 2014, he was promoted to the Uganda Court of Appeal, and in September 2015, he was elevated to the Supreme Court of Uganda. Ezekiel Muhanguzi is a Ugandan lawyer and judge. He started his legal career in 1977 as a state attorney and left in 1980 for private practice, only to return to public office in 2005. His last assignment at the High Court was in the International Crimes Division of the court. He served as a member of a 3-judge tribunal that tried 14 men who were accused of carrying out the murders of Muslim clerics in Uganda between 2014 and 2015. Justice Person Naitu Haise was elevated to the Court of Appeal in 2018. Prior to that, she was the head of the Family Division of the High Court and also a member of the Governing Council of Judicial Training Institute. She was on the panel of the International Crimes Division in the case of Uganda versus Siraj Kawoya and 13 others, which involved various Muslim clerics who were accused of assassinating rival Muslim leaders. Previously, Justice Tuhaise served as a deputy director at LDC, vice chairperson of Electricity Disputes Tribunal, commissioner at Uganda Law Reform Commission, national coordinator of Women and Law in East Africa, Uganda chapter. Justice Mike Chibita, he served at Masaka and Fort Portal High Court as resident judge from 2010 till 2011 and 2011 till 2013 respectively. Between 1996 and 2003, he served as a private secretary, legal affairs to President Museveni. He returned to the Attorney General's chambers as a principal state attorney, a position he held from 2003 to 2005. Paul Kahaibale Mugamba is a Ugandan lawyer and judge who has served as a member of the Supreme Court of Uganda since September 2017.
Yes, and be sure to catch all the updates surrounding that petition here on UBC TV. But we move on. Kasese District has prepared a team to manage Ebola in case of any resurface of cases along the Uganda-DRC border of Mpondwe. Security has been beefed up to prevent entry of people from Congo through porous border points.
The outbreak of Ebola in the eastern part of Congo has posed a threat to Uganda, especially the neighboring districts like Kasese. After an announcement of an Ebola case in Beni in the eastern part of DRC Congo, Kasese, which is one of the immediate neighbors, stands higher chances of contracting the disease. With cross-border business still restricted for many businessmen and women due to COVID-19 related measures, business is normal for cargo trucks through the border entry points. The restricted movement, according to the district health officer, Dr. Baseke Yusuf, is an added advantage to avert the entry of Ebola into Uganda.
We are ready to handle any situation, but the most important thing is infection prevention and control, which we are somewhere, if we can rank, we are around 80% infection prevention and control.
Dr. Baseke says it's easy to monitor truck drivers since they are known.
Especially talking about protective gears. Those are gloves, hand washing, making sure you have the other protective gear when you are.
Dr. Baseke believes that just like COVID-19, if the prevention and control measures used continue, the district may never test Ebola.
Still having restricted movement cross-border, and this one is going to assist us. There is no entering anyhow.
With so many entry points to and from Congo, the Deputy RDC, Masarika Joshua, says security has been beefed at every entry point to ensure sanity in the country.
Bondwe and other parts of Kanyatsa, other parts of Chisororo have already alerted them that there is Ebola And that one case is the one which is seen, but you may not know the people who are still having it, and then it may end up just spreading. So even we have talked to our chairperson LC1 to make sure they seal even more than what we sealed in COVID time.
Irene Faith Nantongo, UBC News.
Now, Rwenzori, 50 schools from Rwenzori districts are to benefit from a teacher professional development project being implemented by Save the Children to improve competencies for better learning outcomes. The country director, Save the Children, Bereshi Van Leith, said the project targets schools in hard-to-reach areas.
Students, your dedication, devotion is to them.
As the reopening of schools begin to take shape, Save the Children has launched a teacher professional development project that will see teachers in hard-to-reach areas improve teaching skills. The project is targeting 50 schools of Rwenzori region in the districts of Bundibujo, Kasese and Ntoroko. The country director, Save the Children, Bridget Van Leith, says the organization has implemented various projects in Rwenzori region for the last 30 years, geared at improving people's lives. Leith said the current project is aimed at ensuring that all children get access to quality and equitable education.
Inclusive education, and that they should have lifelong learning opportunities. And thinking of that, I think you would all agree that what is more important for children's learning than the teachers? If we think back of our childhood, we all remember that one teacher, and hopefully there were even more than one, who really changed our lives, who really brought that learning to us and gave us the direction that we needed at that point.
Under this project, all stakeholders, including teachers training colleges, head teachers, district education officers and community members, have been engaged to build the competences. The organization has procured 10 brand new motorcycles for center coordinating tutors to aid their supervisory work, computers and tablets for teachers' research work to enable them match with the current digital world.
Enabling teachers. And this specific approach is an evidence-based approach. So we have good results in other places. So we have every reason to think that we will be able to have good results here, contextualizing it obviously to the regional needs and specific professional development needs of the teachers.
Welba Wanyama from the Ministry of Education handed over the equipment to beneficiaries at Bundibujo Boma grounds.
And pray that by the end of the project, we see improvement in the quality of education in the child of your district.
Wow.
Hello.
Thank you.
Particular teacher development project. It is exactly supporting Uganda to achieve that. And I want to congratulate the people of Bundibujo, Kasese and Ntoroko for having received this support.
Wanyama lauded Save the Children for designing such a project that will see Uganda achieve sustainable goal number 4.
Now, government has restored social media after consultations with concerned parties and the evaluation of the threats. Ugandans are now advised to use social media responsibly, or else government will not hesitate to revoke the Misuse of Internet and Computer Act to deal with the culprits. Our reporter Ivan Kawa has more.
Government has restored social media services in the country after 30 days of disconnection. The Minister for Information Communication Technology and National Guidance, Judith Nabakoba, confirms the decision.
After consultations with the different stakeholders and evaluation of the threats at hand, we have now agreed and come to a conclusion that the social media should be fully restored, with a few exceptions.
The decision excludes Facebook as it is deemed a primary ground for fake and uncensored information.
But we know very well that at least Ugandans have access to alternative platforms, meaning that alternative platforms can be used as of now by Ugandans to transact, communicate, or do business.
Government believes that the new normal for people familiarizing with using the virtual private network VPN will phase out with time.
But from the few hours having restored the social media platforms, at least I've seen, I've witnessed that most of the Ugandans are now turning off the VPN and now going back to the normal social media platform.
As to whether Ugandans who lost data and were not able to use over-the-top tax OTT will be compensated, Nabakoba had this to answer.
We are still in consultations and engagement. I'll tell them to use what is available and continue living within the available means. If we get any advice from the telecos or Ministry of Finance, then we'll be in position to communicate.
Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Oh, well, Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development has appeared before the Budget Committee of Parliament to defend the 12 billion supplementary budget. This is after Parliament deferred the ministry's supplementary budget request following a letter from the Chairperson Land Commission tabled by Mukono Municipality legislator Nyanga Jackson Senyonga, advising Parliament to disregard the supplementary budget. The Speaker referred the issue to the Budget Committee for further scrutiny.
Actually, the mandate... No, order, please. Order, please. The mandate...
It was a heated debate with bitter exchange of words between Ministers Betty Namisango Kamya of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Persis Namuganza, her deputy, and the chairperson Uganda Land Commission, Beatrice Byencha Nyakaisiki, as the officers tried to justify their positions on the 12 billion supplementary budget. The officials appeared before the Budget Committee, chaired by Kachumbala County Member of Parliament, Jacob Opolot, following a directive by Parliament to re-examine the issue. On Tuesday, Minister Betty Kamya appeared in Parliament to defend her earlier request, informing the House that the money was specifically to compensate the victims of the Lusanje land evictions, St. Peter's Indeba Church incident, among others. Her defense was, however, challenged by the Chairperson Land Commission, prompting further scrutiny by the committee. It took the chairperson several minutes to put the committee to order as the officials of government and MPs bitterly exchanged.
That is the Uganda Land Commission that holds the land on behalf of government.
I want to understand more what you mean by for us to add tax that you can exercise, yet we are given the money.
Procedure.
Information, Chair.
Hold on. Chair. The point of...
The MPs wondered why the two entities under the same house can create such contradictions.
We want to know whether Uganda Land Commission pays money by itself as an institution, or it pays through Ministry of Lands.
The clarification I need from her is that actually, if you read the wording of 239, it actually separates the functions of acquisition and management, and only enjoins Uganda Land Commission to manage. Actual acquisition is...
And was that demand in the books of the accounting officer?
The law says it is the Minister of Finance to submit to Parliament supplementary schedules. It's not the accounting officer. Accounting, whatever government does behind the scenes is a different matter.
At some point, the MPs proposed that the officials should go back and harmonize their issues and come back with a common position on the matter.
Go back and harmonize the position and give us a comprehensive list for you. Does it work better for you?
I'm kindly requesting, let us brainstorm and see how the things move. Probably that will be an end point.
We told you the meeting, the directive on the floor is for us to resolve this matter and report to the House.
That's the regulation.
That's the truth. Now,
can I get a clarification from one of...
However, the chairperson insisted the matter be resolved by the committee before legislators proposing that the officials take oath.
The Beatrice Nyakansiki, swear that the evidence I shall give.
Biencha's point of contention was to untag the 12 billion, informing the committee that there are many people in the country who need compensation.
I'm not aware of it, the commission is not aware of it. And then point number 2, such amount of money being given to only 6 beneficiaries. That is something, as the commission, when we came on board, we haven't been doing.
In defending the 12 billion, Minister Kamya informed the committee that the ministry needs the money to address the presidential pledge.
If there's a court order, for instance, and presidential directives, as people who work together, we consider them. And you also ask the right question: does 12 billion affect the 1.7 trillion bill that you have?
If the tagging is the problem and the money is needed, let us untag the money. Yes, so that the money, the presidential directive, we shall harmonize it there. The right honorable Prime Minister is there.
Whereas by law, Uganda Land Commission is under Minister of Lands, Biencha questioned if her boss was in order to request for a supplementary budget. And whereas the two officials disagreed on the numbers of the people to be compensated, both contend that the money for compensation is needed. Mutonyi Hilda, UBC News.
Well, with that, we take a quick break. When we return, more details. This is News Tonight.
Yellow, how are you? Tell me, how do you do? We're here to show some appreciation for the things you do. Sent you for today, and they sent you for tomorrow. Sent you for every time and everywhere you go. We love you so, and we enjoy life with you. We are happy, happy, happy to know that we will go with you. That's why we say, sent you, sent you.
Thank you for choosing MTN. Use MTN mobile money, bundles or other services to get Thank You points. The more you use, the more Thank You points you get. We look forward to many more years together. Thank you.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Enjoy great value from Airtel with the all-new My Pakalast combo offers. We have customized especially for you the best deals on minutes, data, and SMS with our 3-in-1 My Pakalast combo to give you the best value as you stay in touch with friends and family. To activate My Pakalast voice combo, dial *100*2*1# to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Tonight. Children with special needs or living with special needs in Machindia Division have received a donation of wheelchairs and other devices from Child One Foundation. The function was held at Machindia KCCA Divisional Headquarters. The donation focused on strengthening and supporting orphanage families to raise children with disabilities in this period of COVID-19.
Rhoda, a resident of Kisasi Zone, has a sad story about his 17-year-old daughter who has spent 15 years crawling following an accident which paralyzed her body.
Twali tugenda mu kyalo kuziika ne tufuna accident. Omwana oyo n'agenda mu kkoma okumala ennaku 5. Omwana oyo yagenda okudda engulu ng'ensinga egwa bugweti, amaaso gazina buzinyi gati. Omwana oyo ntumufaako nnyo okumujjanjabira mulago gaafuukira ddala amaka gaffe.
Rhoda and other parents have unique challenges of raising children with disabilities.
Obuteebereka oba n'ebyenfuna nga bwe baŋŋamba okukola oluusi ssente mbasi zirina okugeza nga ebifaananyi bya CT scan, MRI gye baŋŋamba okumukebera obwongo.
Wheelchairs and mobility devices will help these children with physical disability to move freely without burdening their parents.
Were identified as to having needs. They needed some assistive devices, you know. They have different conditions that they have. We worked with Inclusion Support Uganda and Katalemwa, Cheshire Services, who actually did the assessment.
Like they are crippled, they may need wheelchairs. All those assistive devices are usually very costly, including the tests. And as a mother, you also need some counseling and assistance, your personal well-being.
Susan Ajok, the country director Child Eye Foundation, says the intervention is timely and urged the beneficiaries to use them for household empowerment.
For us we would like to make life a little bearable for them as children living with disabilities, especially supporting them to be able to move and live a little more comfortably in their homes. As you can see, the parents, especially the mothers and some of the fathers who have come here, spend a lot of time taking care of the children. And if you have a child who is living with disability, it means you have to practically carry them all the time if they don't have a wheelchair or they don't have a device that can support them. So we are hoping that supporting them with these devices will make life a little more bearable also for the mother. If you have a child and they're in a wheelchair, then it means you can also be able to pay attention to other things to do in the home.
Mutesa Sera Haruna reporting for UBC News.
Our World Food Program has intensified efforts to improve livelihoods of Karamoja residents through provision of food rations to school-going children. This project by World Food Program has continually grown to cover most districts in the region. Let's take a look.
World Food Program has improved its stake in Karamoja region. Its latest involvement targets provision of food rations to school-going children, while at the same time boosting economic success.
WFP is going to make a big move with the government of Uganda in the transformation of the Karamoja society into an agro-pastoralist community. And we would like to launch soon Karamoja Feed Karamoja Phase 2, whereby WFP will be buying from the Karamojan farmers and will provide the food for the 130,000 kids in Karamoja. Karenge is among the key target districts which will be providing food for Karamoja.
World Food Programme has been at the fore in an effort of strengthening government's health system to ensure children receive high-quality health and nutrition services.
If you look for Karamoja, year after year, there's an improvement in the nutrition status. There's an improvement in the life of the people in Karamoja, but we cannot attribute that only to us. It has to be a collective action together with the government of Uganda, with the development partners, with WFP, with organizations like AFI. Together we can make a difference and stronger together.
With the security issue sorted and boosted by private partners like WFP that have come on board, the task now is for improved scientific innovations to enable better yields.
Karenga is not traditionally a pastoral region, so we take advantage on that. We build on that. Two, the other challenge was insecurity. People were not sure that they have sufficient security, which now UPDF has provided. The other threat has been the wild game, which sometimes has made it impossible for the sub-counties around the national park to grow. But we are identifying areas which are very far from the national park, and we want to work with them to scale up on agriculture, form into farmer groups, and ensure that we work together as a group, ensure quality, and then we shall be in business.
The nature of this latest World Food Programme initiative is that it provides income-generating avenues, which will boost economic empowerment.
I appeal to them to take up the message very seriously. One, this will boost incomes to them. It will help them have enough income to pay children to school and to improve household incomes.
The locals are just thumping upon the arrival of this Feed Karamoja project, but call for solutions to basics that deter production.
It can help us support the farmers through capacity building, training farmers on modern agriculture practices. That can be the better option for making farmers to commercialize their, because at the moment it is subsistence farming.
The project will start in the 4 districts of Karenga, Abim, Nakapireperet and Napak.
Double data. Airtel introduces double data. The biggest deal ever on smartphones in Uganda. Buy a smartphone, 3G or 4G, and get 100% data bonus from Airtel. Airtel is giving you 100% bonus data on all weekly and monthly bundles for every new smartphone connected to Airtel for the first 3 months. Dial *175*9# to enjoy double data. Double data, double data. Oh, binovie biruma ya ye. Airtel, the smartphone network, regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Your safety while using electricity starts with having a certified technician to wire your premises. Do not use commute.
Fuck it. Chisaka, now that the wiring is complete, how do I get power?
No, I'll get you power in my own way. And you don't even have to worry about the bills. I'll bring them myself. Is your neighbor there?
She went to work.
Does she have power?
Yes, she has.
If your neighbor has power, you have power. Desist from illegal connections because they are not only dangerous, but could lead to prosecution and death.
Chisaka, what is this? Oh my God, I'm from Umeme.
I did not say Umeme. I am from Umeme. At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.
infrastructure and processes in the URA Customs Department that are aimed at making coffee export business more efficient.
I would like to get Kikobero coffee on every city of the African continent.
As Uganda coffee exports grow by the day, there is a pressing need to leverage all available opportunities locally and globally to support the supply value chains. At this meeting, precedence has been given to the role customs will play in ensuring efficiency.
We are looking at how the URA customs can facilitate exports of coffee through our borders, especially the eastern border of Mombasa, but also Dar es Salaam. There are new initiatives that have come up, and these are initiatives they want to share with the exporters so that they can ease the cost of doing business.
The government has made up a position to revive it, and they have been provided with money and they have started working. They are going to start with rehabilitating the lines internally and also linking Malaba to Kampala so that the cargo can move faster. And the linking also to Naivasha is also included, but that will be later.
Because of the automation we've come up with, we have simplified their export processes at the borders. You remember when we started the one-stop border posts? We have also simplified their processes at the ports in Mombasa because we have deployed our officers in Mombasa. So they are able to track their goods right from the factory.
Concerns about delayed clearance of coffee from Mbale district in eastern Uganda have also been raised.
We still have one area, which is Mbale, which is still suffering, which is in the old style. Containers are delayed for 2 days just because when we load, witnessed by UCDA, we cannot load, seal them until when the URA witnesses, and URA can only witness after getting the C2 sample.
The specific one from Mbale, I think it's something I was talking to my colleague that I'm going to address immediately. I'm going to address that immediately. We don't have to see containers coming to the border, then go back, then wait for officers to go. I think it's another non-tariff barrier which we can control ourselves. I don't see what we are.
Italy has maintained the top spot among countries Uganda exports its coffee to, followed by Germany, Sudan, Belgium and India. African countries that consume Uganda's coffee the most are Sudan, Morocco, Kenya, Algeria, Egypt, South Africa and South Sudan. Reporting for UBC News, Wadulo Makanold in Kampala.
Kanungu SACCOs are running short of funds due to farmers' failure to meet their loan obligations in time. That has affected the operations of these SACCOs in the district. The district agricultural officer, Kanungu, Dr. Aloysius Tumwesige, says most people had borrowed a lot of money to participate in the tea nursery planting, which they failed to pay.
A number of Kanungu residents are mainly farmers, engaged in all sorts of enterprises, but majorly tea growing. Access to loans from SACCOs has been their main boost. The area agriculture officer, Dr. Aloysius Tumwesige, however, says a number of farmers have defaulted on loans repayment. Tumwesige says district SACCOs are collapsing after farmers failed to pay the loans, yet they use their land as collateral.
A lot of money from the SACCO to go and make nursery beds for tea, but government has not paid that money up to now. So it is only that stretch of time because the tea has not been cleared. The nursery ones, they are not able to pay, but they have been paying. We have given them some stretch of time so that they are able to get the money from the government and then they pay us.
He says the problem of drought is also affecting farmers, majorly those in the low altitude areas.
The biggest problem is the drought and especially in the lower areas of the district, the Chihihi, Nyamirama, which are sandy, they are mostly affected by drought when it comes. And the solution we are thinking about it, the solution will be irrigation.
The district chairperson, Josephine Kasha, however, mentions that Kanungu has over 22 SACCOs, with some not performing badly.
Tom, 20 banks is SACCOs is very active, 22 of them. Shanak tongerwa shatu na mukaga eziziragwe emyoga nabwe sente z'emyoga. Konka ryeza 22 egisako yuti yakidefise niye gukora je munonga kukiriza zone.
The Commissioner, Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Bob Mwesije, urged leaders to make SACCO funds relevant to their members by providing them household equipment like solar and water tanks.
Abantu bine tanka za mizi nibanywa dengi. Abantu abana twakushoma nyekiro bakabene banankaka sora nekirunjiro electrification egiye. Konka umwina bwa sora bene bakora ki? Mukoragana na kampuni kuri yobaye mfarasi yachi. Chairman kono njini kwa address ezo nkwe connection zezo.
Chinchizi Development Financial Services is the oldest SACCO in the district with 4 branches.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Uganda Tourism Board has unveiled long-distance runner and world record champion Joshua Cheptegei as the new brand ambassador. This comes at a time when Cheptegei's performance in world competitions is top-notch, where Uganda's flag has been lifted high by the gallant athlete on the globe. Lily Jarova, the CEO Uganda Tourism Board, says Joshua Cheptegei is one of the source markets the country has, both local and on the international scene.
From everyone here, he has roared with the heart of an African lion. He's delivered. It's a world record for Josh.
He sets and breaks his own world record. His name is Joshua Kiprui Cheptegei, World Marathon Champion. Earlier in the day, Cheptegei was named Uganda Tourism Board Brand Ambassador for the year 2021, a function officiated by Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Tom Butime.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
So he takes the flag, doesn't he?
Yes.
Oh, I thought
Cheptegei, who has worked tirelessly to maintain his world record, embraced the responsibility.
I now know more and more Ugandans will be looking up to me. But it is also a blessing and a motivation, because I know more and more Ugandans will now be praying for me to win. But perhaps even more important, I am now even more motivated to give every race my all, because I know every win is not just for me, but it is a win for every of the 700,000 Ugandans employed in the tourism
Minister Tom
sector.
Butime asserts that Cheptegei, as a brand in the world of sports, his prominence will help in raising Uganda's tourism revenue, as well as displaying the flag of the Pearl of Africa.
born and bred in this country. As I said at the beginning, he's a sports celebrity, a star. And we take pride in having Ugandans who are sports celebrities. But once you become successful, a celebrity, other responsibilities.
Identifying Cheptegei as an ambassador is a timely gesture, as CEO, Uganda Tourism Board Lily Ajarova revealed.
Cheptegei shall engage his domestic, regional, international athletic network and peers and encourage them to visit Uganda and enjoy the beauty of Uganda. He will also create publicity and awareness of the tourism destination in Uganda that he travels to during the term of this Memorandum of Understanding.
Ajarova said the sector has lost a number of tourists due to the outbreak of COVID-19, where government had to issue a lockdown on air transport. Meanwhile, Joshua Cheptegei is set to leave the country tonight for Monaco ahead of the World 5-kilometer race on Friday. He says naming him as a brand ambassador has motivated him more ahead of the clash.
Like a song, like a melody, a good melody that has been poured into my heart, and I believe that it's a sign of success for the year 2021. Not only my success, but the success of the country, the success of tourism and the sport at large.
However, Cheptegei cited challenges during his preparations, which he attributed to the coronavirus outbreak.
Small challenges, especially with the problem of travels. It's been really messed up because normally we are used to arriving 2 days to the event or 3 days to the event, but the 2020 for the 2020 season, it saw us traveling much earlier, like 8 days earlier to the event.
Currently, Joshua Cheptegei is two-time 10,000-kilometer record champion and the 10th man in the world, holding a 5,000-kilometer world record. Helen Barbara Gisamba for UBC News.
Meanwhile, Uganda national men's basketball team, the Silverbacks, have completed COVID-19 protocols in Tunisia and now eye proper preparations ahead of the final Afro basketball qualifier window. Uganda will play Egypt, Morocco and Cape Verde starting next week with full knowledge that only one victory is what's required to earn a berth at the Afro basketball final in Rwanda.
Uganda national basketball team, the Silverbacks, have concluded COVID-19 protocols and fully settled in Tunisia, where they contest the final Afro basketball qualifier.
We started out fairly well yesterday. We hadn't played in a while, quarantined for a few days here and there, so it was nice to get out and break a sweat. Today was definitely better than yesterday, so I think we're getting our groove back, and I'm just looking forward to the rest of the camp.
Team captain Ajime Nabu is optimistic that with team gelling assured, work on basics like defense will enable desired results.
We can't focus on everything at once, so the coaching staff is breaking it down. We're doing a good job in regards to picking up what we have to pick up for the first few sessions. So, defense is what's going to win us this game, so we're taking it as serious as we can, and we'll get better as we go on.
Team head coach George Galanopoulos is confident that the team will benefit from the few days prior to the tournament that starts on 18th February.
Well, it's hard to say because we're not playing against other teams, we're just playing against each other, but what we're focusing on is keeping it simple and making sure that we clarify exactly what we're doing defensively. And we've been playing live a lot the last couple of days, some long practices, and like I said, the communication's been at a high level. These guys are getting more familiar with what we're doing, the more familiar they are with each other. So that's the main difference that I've seen, is there's a lot more clarity on the defensive end about what we're doing, what we want to do, and how to do it.
Having excelled at the first window, Uganda requires just one victory over Egypt, Morocco or Cape Verde to qualify for the Afro basketball to be hosted by Rwanda later this year. The fixture released today reveals that Uganda will start with Egypt on the 18th, play Morocco a day later, and conclude against Cape Verde. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
And that does it for news tonight. Thank you for sticking with us. Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Have yourselves a lovely night.